I am Nerditude,
I am Amanus.
and this is Split Screen Co-op. Welcome in. Let's get started. One of the first things I wanted to talk about, because there's been a lot of advertising for it lately. Disney's really pumping it out there, is Daredevil.
Yes. Yeah, I know there are a lot of people that are super hyped about them bringing back Daredevil. I fully admit I have not watched the full Netflix series, so I got to go back and do that. I was just looking to see if it's on Disney Plus, and they have, it looks like, all 3 seasons, so got
That was a
homework for
great
that.
show. I will say, as much as I love Daredevil, besides here and there, I love the Punisher. He's probably one of my favorite Marvel characters. I didn't love it the show. And it's
Okay.
because for me, there was a lot of time where he wasn't really the Punisher. Like,
Mm-hmm.
have you watched the Punisher show at all?
I haven't, I really kind of avoided the series stuff that they were putting out. I watched all the Disney Plus stuff, but Punisher, Daredevil, all the ones that they put on Netflix, I
didn't
kind of
watch
steered
Luke
away
Cage
from.
or the other one either.
Yeah, but now that they're starting to actually kind of integrate that stuff a little bit more, like Daredevil popped up in She-Hulk and all that, I need to go back and watch it.
I don't want to watch She-Hulk. I've seen enough. And it's not, and like, for me, it's all about the illogical writing, and it boils down to like, I'm sure you've read about the scene where she talks about where her anger comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, that's fine. Your anger comes from the fact that you look down upon in your career because you're a woman. I get that. The problem is who you're talking to. You're talking to fucking Bruce Banner, who has watched everybody he loves basically die. I mean, Black Widow, name a person, he's going to outlive him, especially if you read into like the Hulk novels about old Hulk, when he's hundreds of years old and everybody else is fucking dead, and Deadpool's the only one still alive. Like, you're talking to Bruce Banner, who has suffered possibly more than anybody in the MCU. And you're gonna tell, like, you're justifying and he's like, oh, and while he sits there and goes, yeah, my anger comes from, I don't know, watching the people I love die, watching the cities I love get destroyed, watching me being able to do nothing because a crazy man with a glove killed half the fucking population. You know what I mean? Like,
and I feel like they were very heavy-handed with their trying to send a message with that show.
Yeah,
I get it.
A definite
Most
agenda.
of the people that are watching the show get it. The people that don't get it aren't ever going to get it. These are the same people that, I don't like politics in my comics. Bitch, there have been politics in comics since comics came out.
Yeah, I mean, and well, that's the thing is, it is a weird dynamic because I think it's almost impossible to not have politics in comedy, because comedy is current events. And current events is always politics are always one of the biggest thing in current events, no matter what it is. I mean, Trump, the whole Trump-Biden thing is probably huge fodder for comedians, whether you're doing, inflated Trump impression that's hilarious, or you're doing a Sleepy Joe impression that's fucking funny.
Right.
And that was kind of the joy of, I mean, I don't find SNL to be funny anymore, but I think that's largely depending on like the cast they have. Like, I think SNL relies on you to kind of be like, dude, I like Bobby Moynihan, or I like this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's my problem with SNL, is just like the current cast, I'm not the biggest fan of, minus a few.
Yeah.
But that was the whole idea behind SNL, was like, we're going to fucking poke fun of everything. And if you don't like it, tough shit. And I think one of the things that's said way too often, but is very true, is like, freedom of speech isn't, like, the shit you don't want to hear is what you're protecting.
Right.
It's not the niceties. So like, and in comedy, it's fucking comedy. Like, their whole job is to elicit a reaction.
Right.
It's kind of like wrestling. Like, the bad guys want you to boo them. Mm-hmm. Like, that's their job. If you're reacting in any way, they did their job.
Right. Yeah, it's... I was going somewhere with that. I'm sure I'll remember it later, but I remember the whole thing with Dave Chappelle. Because Dave Chappelle hosted last weekend, I think it was. And I've always been a Dave Chappelle fan because he will say it like he'll punch out at everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. But I didn't agree with the things that he said, regarding the trans thing. Okay, we said we're not going to get political with this, and I'm going to try to not get too far
go ahead.
into the weeds on this.
It's in the ether, though. Like,
right.
I mean, it's going to be discussed. I mean, there's things in gaming that honestly, like certain things I'm not a big fan of, like the forced agendas that aren't necessarily political, but they're still forced agendas. Like, this shit flows in everything we love.
Right. Prefacing it with this, trans rights are human rights. That's it. They're people. Everybody has a right to live. How they choose to live is their choice. I'm not disputing that at all.
No.
And I'm not saying I 100% support Dave Chappelle. Some of the things that he said during that phase, I don't agree with at all. But he is a comedian. He does have a right to say those things. You don't have to like it. But we need to move away in general from this whole thing of, oh, well, he said one thing that I don't like, so just cancel all of it. In general, Dave Chappelle is a very reasoned, moderate comedian who is right about a lot of shit.
Well, not only that, but like the fact that he doubles down, you have to understand he just wants the reaction.
Right.
He found that pressure point, and his job is to make you react to that pressure point. And like, I think the whole point of that part of his comedy is to be decisive. And you could tell that by like when he makes the joke and how like a comedian will kind of give that smile. Like, oh, I got him on that one. Like everybody fucking made a noise on that one. Like they take pleasure in it.
Right. Because he did a 17-minute monologue on SNL last weekend.
Yeah, did he really do that long of a monologue?
It was 17 minutes. Uninterrupted. Definitely go watch it. The man has a way with words and expressing his thoughts that is just amazing. He talked about Trump. He talked about Carter. And the thing is that, like, right, wrong, or indifferent, whenever it came to the part about Carter, he was very poignant and he was very respectful. He stood up the whole time he was talking about Carter, talking about, how positive of a person he was and stuff like that. And it's like, so you have to kind of understand that, like, he's not attacking any one specific group. Well, he's saying what he sees, which he's allowed to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, hold on a second. I'm hearing a bone being chewed at a alarmingly hard rate right now. I just be like, fucking chill, because I'm hearing these, and they're not soft bones, and I'm hearing teeth clank on them, and it's like, you need to chill the fuck out. I have to yell at my big guy all the time, because he'll just, like a fucking buzzsaw, and I'll go, hey, easy on the bone because of your teeth, and he looks at me like, eh, fuck you. I'm like, come on, man, I was chewing my bone. Back to what we were saying. Here's the thing, even if, like, let's say he's not let's say he doesn't want to roll with the politicizing of the trans rights, which in my mind, the politicizing is the forced pronouns and things like that.
Right.
Even if that's not his bag in real life, which it probably isn't. He's a comedian, free speech guy. He probably doesn't want people dictating what he says. Right. He's allowed to have that opinion, and you are allowed to disagree and disengage. Yeah. And the problem is we've reached a point in, I won't even say this country, I think globally a lot of it, is the idea of disengaging no longer exists. It's, if I don't like something you're doing, now I have to attack.
Right.
And it's a weird idea of, like, it used to be just kind of like, oh, this comedian's not for me. Or this entertainer is not for me. And honestly, I am one of those people where I don't mind politics in movies, but outside of said movie, I don't want your fucking opinion. Yeah. That is one thing where it's like, comedy's a different story. Storytelling is even a different story. If it's in a movie and it's a highly political movie, not a big deal. It's a movie, I know what I'm watching. What gets me is it's just like celebrities do kind of think that they have like the word of God behind them. And it's kind of like, well, my opinion is this. And you don't like that opinion? Well, you're a this, or that. That's where I kind of like tune out, and it's just like, all right, looks like I'm not that big of a fan of this person anymore because I just don't want to, like, and it was the same thing in the metal music scene during Bush, where you
Mhm.
couldn't go see a show without having some singer of some band try to turn it into a protest. And it's like, I just want to hear your music. Like, I didn't sign up for a seminar. I signed up for you to play fucking, Me Inside by Slipknot. Like, that was one of the things that when Corey Taylor started doing Stone Sour, there was a lot of the preachiness. And it was like, dude, I just want to hear your music. Like, I don't
Right.
care one way or the other right now.
Yeah. It's this whole. It's the social medias and the advent of social media and the parasocial relationships that people have with celebrities. It's like they don't know you. They don't care who you are. They don't care if you follow them. They would probably prefer that you didn't because they are people. They need their alone time too. Like you don't need to hear their every thought. I earlier this week, partially because of things, I basically logged out of my X account. I have not logged back into it. I took it off my phone. I took Facebook off my phone. I took Messenger, like all these things. And it's like, I'm still on Blue Sky just because it's so much quieter. Like it's people that I know in real life that are that I follow and talk to on Blue Sky.
That's the problem with all of these things is it's faceless voices.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't engage or I rarely engage on Twitter. And if I'm engaging, like, there's been moments where I've read something about like, I'm gonna fucking reply, and you start to like write it out, and then I sit there and I go, why the fuck am I doing this? And delete the whole thing.
Right.
Because like Twitter really, I mean, and I think a lot of social media is designed for you to engage via disagreement. Like, it's not based on positive premises. And I myself am not a big social media guy either. I have Twitter. I use it basically just to post live, like that I'm going live.
Right.
And other than that, if I catch myself doom scrolling, I try to immediately cut that shit out and like do something else because that'll put you into a loop of fucking depression. And it's like, so my question is, why is it's an addiction, right? Like all of these people losing their fucking mind from TikTok. That's an addiction, right? Like where they're going through withdrawals because they can't constantly just fucking scroll.
Yeah, like I saw it within 2 hours after they took TikTok down. Shit, was that wasn't even a week ago that they took it down for like 4 hours.
Yep.
No, it was longer than that. It was maybe like 12 hours, but they took it down for 12 hours, and the reaction was huge.
And like I understand the people that are upset because they have like businesses, or they're actually making money via that, right?
Yes,
but like I don't know. I kind of look at it like Vine went down when it got bought, and people found a new fucking premise. Then they went to TikTok or Instagram's. Although I hear Instagram is basically Tinder light at this point, which is crazy to me because I never fucking looked. Like I always thought Instagram was like, oh man, that's the social media you share photos to, and like I find out it's about e-whoring, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? It's like Tinder, OnlyFans, Instagram. Like people don't ask for phone numbers anymore; they ask for the Instagram. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But that's me.
We got on this.
I'm the type of dude who gets in trouble with my wife because it's like, hey, did you see my Snapchat? And it's like, no, when did you send it? 3 days ago. And it's like, I don't check that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was on TikTok before they shut it down, and I deleted my account, and I don't plan on going back, even though they brought it back up. Like, if you want to send me a TikTok, send it to me in Discord.
I have a personal hatred for TikTok that has nothing to do with politics. I started posting on TikTok. I was posting clips. I was actually getting okay views. I don't know if they were inflated or bloated because I was new or whatever, but they locked my account, sent me an email telling me I needed to send them a picture of my photo ID because I'm making content for kids. Meanwhile, the only thing I was doing to my content, we all know my content's not for fucking kids. The only thing I was doing was bleeping out the curse words, which there are many, to be fair. And they sent me that, and I emailed them back, and I was like, "This isn't fucking kids content. There's no tags for children. I'm playing fucking Call of Duty."
Definitely
And,
not for kids.
right? It's like, and then well, that's the other weird thing. When I grew up and I wanted a copy of GTA 3, I was lucky because my mom had no fucking idea what it was because nobody did yet.
Right.
And she went to, I paid for it with, saved up money from birthdays and stuff. And she went to Toys R Us day one. And when I got home from school, I had GTA 3 sitting there day one.
Right.
But I don't know. Do people remember the struggle of being not 17 trying to get a mature rated fucking game? Yet I'm watching literal children on Twitch stream it? What the fuck has happened? Like,
I don't know when that happened.
Like, I remember, you go to Toys R Us and you got the stupid little paper thing and you got to go to the back fucking room. And if you weren't 17, it was like, even if you paid for it, it was like, piss off. We'll refund you. You're not getting shit.
Yeah. Nope. ESRB was a thing.
Yeah, nowadays, because everything's digital, it's like, here's mommy's credit card. And then you bitch because they bought $50 of V-Bucks.
Speaking of everything is digital, by the way, Sony, I don't know if you saw this, announced, I saw an article pop up last night, has announced that it will cease production of Blu-ray discs next month. And that there is, quote, no successor model because everything's going to streaming.
I mean, I'm very sad about that because I'm a physical media guy. I mean, I own a lot of digital because you kind of have to now. Well, the problem is, let's be fair. Manufacturers have priced people out of the digital market.
Yes.
A 4K Blu-ray day one is $35.
Yeah.
A 4K digital day one, depending on the movie, $25. But the thing about digital is within a week, 2 weeks, it's $12.99.
Mm-hmm.
And the physical, you don't see those deals. Like, I think Amazon ran a pretty good one a few weeks back that was 3 4Ks for $33. That wasn't bad. But once again, you had select titles. You're not getting the best and the brand new. You know, maybe you'll get Fifth Element. That's a pretty good one,
Yeah. I think this is going to backfire on them terribly.
And, well, how can they do that? But that's Sony for you, developing a fucking discless PS5 it's $700.
Yep. Yeah.
Say what you will about the Xbox, specifically the X. It's a 4K player and a streaming hub at the minimum. Now, an Apple TV is $200 or $180 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think you can get Series X's for like $380 on sale.
Something like that.
So when you look at it in that reference, it's not that bad of a deal because you're getting a 4K player, and even if you just use it for a digital streaming interface, it's got everything you can think of. And on top of that, if you happen to be a gamer, you've got a decent rig for gaming. So but the PS5 being if you want the disk drive and you want to have it stand up vertically, no problem, $20 extra. You're at over like $830, and then you've got tax, and it's like, at this point, why wouldn't you just buy a small gaming PC?
Right.
Like, invest the money, and then you don't have to worry about console wars. You remember that game you loved from 20 years ago? You don't gotta fucking worry about backwards compatibility, because even if it doesn't work right, nerds out there have figured out how to make it fucking work.
Yep.
I did this, a buddy of mine, he wanted to play the Batman Arkham Origins.
Okay. Yep.
It runs on Xbox, but they don't have it in the digital store. So you got to go to a GameStop and find a $30 pre-owned copy.
Yeah.
It is part of the PlayStation Premium PS3 catalog, which is cloud gaming, so you're only getting the PS3 quality. So 30 frames, resolution 720, whatever it was. PC, over the holiday, the same fucking game was on sale for $1. Max details, 100 whatever fucking frames a second you want. And that's really the sadness of the console game, right? Is like, the PC, there's just so much more you can I fuck with my friends all the time who don't have PCs. My one buddy basically has a Switch and Xbox. And it's like, maybe think about a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be buying a Switch too. I'll be straight up. I'm not going to miss out on Nintendo's first parties. I probably won't buy any third-party titles, but I'll be buying a lot of fucking Nintendo shit. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you know, but beyond the Switch, I think I might be done with consoles. Like, I'm sick of the whole, like, oh, if I want to play this Sony game, I gotta have a PS fucking 5. I'm tired of
Yeah.
that. And Microsoft is basically like, you don't need an Xbox. Hey, your fucking TV's an Xbox. Your modem's an Xbox. We sell a controller with a flash drive. That's a fucking Xbox.
They're reaching Doom levels of, well, can I run it on my refrigerator? Yeah!
Yeah. Oh, did you see that somebody got Doom running on a PDF? Like, Carmack must literally just be like, every day he logs onto the internet, it's just like, if they've done it again, you know, these bastards have done it again. Doom is now on a PDF. I mean, I've seen those videos of people running them on like toasters and anything with a fucking screen.
Yeah,
we used to try to get
like their refrigerator.
We used to try to get it to run on the. There used to be a somewhat working version of it on the TI-83 Plus calculators.
Yeah,
it was weird to play it on a calculator, but it worked.
I'm trying to remember. It's entirely possible that it was a joke, but it was not out of the realm of possibility. But I swear, I thought I saw somebody that was able to get it running on like a pregnancy test once.
Yes. No, that's real. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not as crazy as I thought I might be.
No, and by the way, who is sitting around going, you know what? We need pregnancy test Doom. That's what we need in this world. Like, fuck
pregnancy test cancer. I'm going to play a level of Doom while I wait.
Yeah. Here, I got 2. You could piss on this one, and I'll play Doom on this one. Like, how do you even, like, you got to open it up and put a fucking memory card in it? Yeah, no. Did you see any of the footage and or information they've released about the new Doom game?
I have not. I have not played a Doom, like actually sat down and seriously played a Doom game since the one on the Nintendo 64. So I'm aware that there is the new Doom game. What is it, like Medieval Doom or something like that?
So I would recommend, I think they're on Game Pass. I would heavily recommend going through Doom 2016.
Okay.
But know that the switch between Doom 2016 and Doom 2 Eternal, I think is what it's called, it's vastly different. For number 2, it's way less linear, more open. Traversal is the name of the game, which I much preferred 2016 because it was kind of a nice linear story.
Dark Ages Doom. Okay.
Yeah, in Dark Ages, there's no multiplayer, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need it. It's fucking Doom. There's no if you want multiplayer, bring back Unreal Tournament or Quake Champions.
Right.
It's single player only. They are not focusing on traversal. The main focus for this one is brutality. Melee combat mixed with guns in a medieval setting, which makes me so much happier because I didn't love that the second one was all about like you're speedrunning every fucking level. It's jumping and bouncing and shooting demons. I much preferred 2016. I wish they would have taken the budget for Doom Eternal and had it for 2016.
Okay.
Because for me, 2016 has a performance by the main villain, and the acting performance by that whoever did it. It sounds like James Spader, but it's not him. I looked into it, and also that one's got a soft spot on me because it literally came out on my birthday in 2016.
Okay.
And I remember I took the day off of work and I got it home and I cranked the fucking surround sound and just blasted it and played the shit out of it. And
I will say, like, that is one thing that the audio for Doom has the music has always been top notch.
For one of the conferences when that one came out, I don't know if it was E3 or whatever it was, but they did a live performance of what is now known as the Doom song. That really kind of grindy metal song they have from 2016. Yeah. They did a live performance of it at one of the things, and it was so fucking cool. It was the guy who like scored it, and he was on the guitar. They had an actual live drummer, but the guy had so much distortion on this 7-string guitar, they didn't even have a bassist with them. It was literally just the two guys.
Oh, wow.
And it was heavy as shit. I mean, but yeah, I am looking forward to the new Doom. And the nice thing is like people want... I don't understand. Maybe you understand it more. I don't get the hate for Game Pass. Like, I understand the idea of, like, everything's going up in price. I'm tired of the prices going up. But why do people hate Game Pass so much? Besides the shittiness of the app And the fact that Microsoft has
Yeah.
every one of the new games is an update behind. But like,
Mm-hmm.
people scoff at the core premise of like, games, I don't need Game Pass. I like owning my games. And like, I get it, but hear me out. Do you own your games?
Well, see, and that's the interesting thing, is that people get all bent out of shape about, oh, I like owning my games. Okay, tell me how you feel about video streaming services, because it's the same thing.
Well, that's the thing is we kind of, I mean, Steam's now got it in their
Mhm.
agreement that anything could be pulled at any time if licensing is pulled. So if
Yeah.
in reality you don't actually own these things, how
Right.
is it any different than streaming it on Game Pass?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Game Pass at
And
least allows you to play it, and then if you love it, you'll find it on sale for $10 at some point. You can buy it.
right. Well, and if it's on Game Pass, you get a discount if you decide to buy it.
Plus
99 times
rewards,
out of 100.
you get rewards points for playing shit. So you'll
Right.
get, you can get a $5, $10 off coupon if you accumulate enough to buy whatever. Like Back for
Yeah.
Blood, it was on Game Pass. It dropped to dirt cheap on Game Pass, so I bought it, and then I found it for even cheaper on Steam, and I bought that as well. Because
Yeah.
I think that entire game, including the deluxe edition, for each version I bought was like $7 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really, and I don't know why people shit on that game so much. My theory is simply because it wasn't Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever played it, but I thought it was a competent, like, hey, it's not Left 4 Dead, but it's as close as you can get in a modern game. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was well done for what it was. I mean, I think the big issue was the content just wasn't there when it first released.
Yeah.
And people ran through it and was like, Left 4 Dead 2 has 40 fucking maps because the people who were making them in the mod scene got them ported into the actual game now. And then there's Steam
Right.
Workshop and there's all that shit you can use. And I think that was the big thing. Much like you got that Killing Floor 3 coming out too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the biggest thing about Game Pass hate is it's an extension of the Microsoft hate. And I'm not defending poor little Microsoft for anything that they do. I am a self-professed Microsoft fanboy. I own Microsoft earbuds. I had two Microsoft Surface Duos as my phones for the last several years. Like, I'm like a Microsoft person. I'm not going to defend them because some of the stuff that they do is entirely stupid. However,
Yeah.
that extends to all technology companies.
Yeah.
Every time I open Google Maps in Microsoft Edge, I get that little pop-up that says, "Hey, Maps works better in Chrome." I don't care. I don't want to use Chrome. I think it's just an extension of the hate that people have for Microsoft in general.
Interesting fact about Microsoft Edge versus Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. Edge is the only browser that gives you actual 1080p streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
Yeah,
didn't realize
it's-
that until I was watching Voodoo on Chrome, and I'm like, why does this look like 720p? And then I ran it on Edge, and I'm like, holy shit, this is actual 1080p. So if you're watching digital shit on your PC, use Edge. Use Edge,
Yeah.
it's way better.
In general, the last couple of years, Microsoft has really started to step up their game, and they're being more open to outside stuff. The fact that they took the original version of Microsoft Edge, dumped it, and replaced it with a Chromium-based version. So the current version of Edge is Google Chrome with a whole bunch of tracking stuff stripped out because they know that people don't like it. Yes, they put some of theirs back in because they're Microsoft, and it's what the tech companies do. If you're getting it for free, you are the product. That's going to happen. That's X, that's Facebook, that's all the it's everybody.
Your data is the true prize.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's out there.
I think that was one of the big issues with TikTok was, and I actually looked into this. China has some control in it, but the largest owner of TikTok, and I don't, maybe that's also got Chinese influence, but it's actually an African-based company. So I don't know what exactly was going on behind the scenes that shot the red flag up there. I mean, the problem is, I think any government should be concerned, especially if they have government employees using an app that's taking their face scanning technology.
Yeah.
I think that's a legitimate concern, but in that case, you got to ban all of them. I mean, you ban the iPhone. Any government employee with an iPhone that's their face scan data's there. I use my face as my login on my phone.
And you know that any government agency that's issuing phones, issuing mobile devices, is putting out iPhones.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like, and that was kind of the craziness for me is like I said, I have a personal vendetta for TikTok. I'm okay if it burns to the fucking ground. I'm not addicted to social media, and B, they tried to fuck me over, so they can piss up a rope. But there's nothing to do with the politicizing of it. I just fuck them on a personal note.
Right.
But you know, this idea of like, I think there should be cause for concern, but it's cause for concern across the board. It's not one singular app. Now, one of the other companies they talked about being a problem is Tencent, which is the owners of, was it League of Legends and those type
They
games
have,
or something like that?
Yeah, they have a couple. League of Legends is the big one.
Now, my issue with that one is I think the whole idea is they don't like it because it's a Chinese-owned company, and I think the Chinese government actually does have stake in that company. I myself am not a fan of Valorant's Riot Games launcher. I don't know if you ever played Valorant, but it is a kernel level anti-cheat, which means if you shut the game down and the launcher down, you have to reboot your PC before the game will play again. That's how fucking invasive of an anti-cheat is in there.
Yeah. No, I
think Tencent got added to like Chinese military company or something. There's some weird shit they just deemed it.
I feel like that's the case for most companies out of China. I don't know for sure.
Well, Lenovo.
But I feel like most companies in China, there's probably some level of government ownership in there.
I think Lenovo
China.
at a time was owned like 60% by the Chinese government. And tell me there's no Lenovo notebook laptops in government.
Yeah.
The cheapest fucking workspace laptop you can buy and you don't have them in the government? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But then again, I don't necessarily want the U.S. or any country making a phone specifically for their government agents either. Like, I don't want a U.S. state-sponsored cell phone either, because that's basically being like, hey, here's a tracking device. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the whole thing of governments tracking a lot of what we do is alarming in general, whether it be the U.S., Chinese, Russian, whatever government.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of them just sucking my data up like a fucking vampire.
Yeah.
But it's what we agreed to. You agreed to it when you logged in and signed into the terms of YouTube watching this. Like,
tell me somebody read every single word of those every time they agree to it. Nope. Never happened.
No, I mean, and that's the thing is like, maybe if you're an attorney, but if you're doing that, what are you using?
Right.
Like if you're off the grid, that's the only way to not partake in any of it.
You're still on one of those old Nokia brick phones.
Yeah, you've got a BlackBerry that hasn't had internet connection for forever. Like it just never had a fucking Wi-Fi chip in it, and you're still, you're just relying on cell towers that barely exist. Like, it's the way of the world now. I mean, everything has tracking,
from
dude.
Pony Express.
well, it's everything. Your Ring doorbell. Ring has openly said if police request it, they're going to give it to them. They're going to give them the footage. Yeah. Like the police, I think, can actually tap into Ring footage.
I think they can.
The Amazon server. So it's like, where can you hide anymore? Like, legitimately, unless you're in the woods somewhere where it's hard to fucking traverse. If you're in a city, you can't hide.
No.
You can't tell me these cameras don't have facial recognition technology. That's why anytime something terrible happens and it's like, we're looking for the person. Bitch, you already know who they are.
Right.
We all know it. You know who they are. Just go fucking, you can write me a ticket for not 100% stopping at a red light camera and with a window visor down. You know who the fuck I am. You can find this person.
Right.
Speaking of all this crazy, there's a couple things, and one of them is quasi-political, which is the Elon Musk Asmongold drama, which the drama itself isn't all that political, because if I'm correct, Asmongold is kind of a right-wing dude, and Elon Musk is currently working for the Trump administration, and guess What is their debacle going on about? What is their argument happening about there, Imanis?
So, full disclosure, I am not a big fan of Asmongold. I don't like the things that he does. But
he is a disgusting man. Like, just like in general of how he lives and how he is unkempt. The guy is worth millions, and he looks like a fucking homeless guy.
Yeah. So the problem with Asmongold and Elon Musk. So Elon decided he wanted to go.
Who's working for the goddamn government, by the way, is in this feud now.
Right. Decided that he wanted to go and play some Path of Exile 2 on Twitch one day. I would assume it was Twitch.
I do want to play Path of Exile 2.
Yeah. So what happened was Elon apparently has a very high-level character in Path of Exile. So as Asmongold is watching this live stream, he's like, there is no feasible way that Elon Musk leveled this character himself. Because everybody knows that as you play a video game, you get better at the game. Most people, most games.
Well, you would hope.
The more you play, the better you get. Including things like menuing, switching equipment out, all that kind of stuff.
Strategizing in general.
Right. So the problem was that Asmongold is watching Elon Musk playing Path of Exile 2, and he's like, apparently Elon was making very basic, like, beginner-level mistakes. And not, being able to menu correctly, all this kind of stuff.
So let me ask, though, are you familiar enough with it where is there a way to pay to boost your character?
In general, in games, there's always ways to pay to boost your character, especially online games.
Especially a free-to-play game when it releases.
Right, because it's like, I send somebody my login information. I say, hey, log in and play for me. It's boosting. People do it all the time. People have done it in World of Warcraft for years.
But there's, like, I wonder, is there a way, like, in the game to, like, buy, like, do they have purchasable boost type packs for the character? Because if that's the case, not that big of a deal if they're selling it,
I would say probably not yet. Some in-game boosts like that, at least buying them directly from the shop, are kind of a thing that happens further along in the life of the game.
Okay.
Because whenever
I do look at it like
the game, you want people playing, you want people leveling. You don't want it to be able to go like, oh, hey, it's day 5 of the game. Let's put out the character boost.
Yeah, I'm going to go directly to end game because I just purchased a boost that brought me to level like Diablo does now with the new season content.
Right. And World of Warcraft has level boosts, but even those typically they boost you to the start of the current expansion, not the end level of the current expansion. So like max level in WoW, I think right now is level 80. So you can buy boosts up to 70. And then you have to level yourself from 70 to 80.
Within the expansion.
Right, within the expansion.
Got you. So it still gives you a reason to play through that content.
Right. There are people in every game who, if gold is tradable or there are tradable commodities within the game, there are people that will boost your character for you. So, like, you log in and they, like, as a group run you through higher level content or whatever to boost you up faster, get you better gear. Again, people have been doing this in World of Warcraft for years. They sell raid boosts like, oh, hey, you want to get cutting edge on your current, monk? Okay, great. Pay us 200,000 gold. We'll run you through the dungeon. You get the loot. You get the experience. You get the achievement. We get the gold. People do it. It's a thing. So it's possible that he did that. But even based off of what he was doing, Asmongold was saying, like, he didn't even do that. It sounds like basically Elon created his account or had some assistant do it for him, said, hey, level my character to max level, get me all of this stuff, like, off to the side. And then one day he decided, okay, I'm going to jump in and play, and had no idea what he was doing.
Okay,
Well,
so I did Google it.
mhm,
Boosting services for Path of Exile are there, and as you said, it relies on basically some professional player logs in, plays under
right.
your account, and achieves the shit you haven't. But now, is it that big of a deal though? Is he
So,
playing it competitively? Like, what is the? Why is there drama about it? I guess.
so I would imagine that the majority of the drama stems from good old Elon not liking being called out, not liking being questioned, or
Yeah.
falsely or not, accused of boosting his character.
Well, I think one of the things that went on is him and Asmongold had DMs, and in the DMs, Asmongold basically said like, I make the content, my editors handle everything else on the YouTube channel.
Hmm.
And at this point, Elon had. So they think what Elon did was like a soft ban unfollow on Asmongold,
Hmm.
where you ban them and then unban them, and but what it does is you're no longer friends.
Right.
He also took away his blue check mark for a time,
Yep.
and which the blue check mark thing to me is the dumbest fucking thing. But whatever, I get it.
Right.
Business, it pushes your numbers. I get it. It's a
Yeah.
e-commerce platform more than anything in that realm.
Right.
And Elon basically tried to call him out as not doing. I mean, and Elon does kind of have a point. Like, if you are gonna call him out for boosting his character and not putting in the time, then in my
Hmm.
mind, you can also be called out too for not editing your own content and uploading it. Like, you have
Right.
money, you don't have to. But he is right in a realm where if your editors are handling everything you see in an edited form, you're really not putting in the time either. But I think the whole thing is just so fucking petty.
Yeah. Either way, it's petty. Now, in Asmongold's defense, I will say that at the level that he is at in terms of content creation and things like that, I get that he has like for me, like I if somebody said, "Oh, he's got a whole team of editors and people that run his socials and blah blah blah," yeah, okay, that's not that surprising.
No,
The,
no. I mean, look at all like the in real life ones, like Kai Sanat, I
right,
Show Speed. All those guys have a full editing fucking team and a propaganda. Well, I wanted a propaganda, but a marketing team. I mean, it is what it
right,
is.
yeah,
They're making millions. I mean, Kai Sanat makes what 100,000 a month on subscriptions alone, or
something
some
like
crazy
that.
shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but I feel like that's a big difference though between saying, "Oh, you have a full team of editors who are editing your content," versus you didn't make it to level 97 playing as your character.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it is. There is a difference, as in like the video game leveling up that is work. But I
mhm,
mean, I will say this, and I'm not. I actually don't hate Asmongold.
yeah,
I think as a human, he's kind of gross. Just in a, you're a millionaire who lives in an attic that's infested by rats. Like in that premise, I think the way he lives is just it's gross. If you don't have to live that way, why would you?
right.
And some of his personal takes I find a bit goofy, but in the same token, how do I put this without? I'm not an Elon Musk ball sucker, believe me.
Right.
But you're telling a guy who him and his team are currently trying to figure out how to get us to Mars.
Hmm.
They've figured out how to launch and re-land goddamn rockets.
Right.
Like the level of what has been accomplished between these two men is so great. I do find it silly for Asmongold to like Elon Musk steps within the arena that he is qualified to talk to, and the first thing he does is call him out, and it's like, yeah, I mean maybe you're right, but you're probably correct, but in the grand scheme of things,
And
so
this is my problem with Asmongold. No,
like like
granted,
like
I,
what
I
have
will
you
never.
done to benefit anybody, dude?
Right. I will never be on the same level as Asmongold in any terms of streaming or content creation or whatever, and I'm okay with that.
My
But this
question
is
is
my
why
problem with
not?
Asmongold is
Because if he can
he
do it, how the
feels.
fuck am I not huge? I'm just saying.
Yeah, true. But he goes for the edgy. He goes for and you're right. Like he has no ownership over the space. Who is he to call anybody out?
Like, this guy is literally
But-
trying to change the humanity, not the country, humanity's understanding of things. And whether you love
Yeah.
the Tesla cars or not, and I kind of have a soft spot for them because I think they're neat. It's just like when I was a kid and the Game Boy came out. It's neat technology, right? Like,
Yeah.
but there's issues with them. But like, you're talking to a guy who is a genius.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, he's a genius fucking billionaire. If he wasn't as weird as he is, he could be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, it's that level of weirdness. And here we have a scummy streamer who is, well, achieved a lot, makes a lot of fucking money. I'm not taking far more successful than I am in the sphere.
Right.
But, you know, the guy comes into your hemisphere of what you can talk about because you're qualified to talk about nothing else, frankly.
Right.
This is your life. That's what you're qualified to talk about. And the first thing you do is shit on him. Or you call him out and it's like, yeah, he probably boosted, but he's also doing 80-hour fucking weeks, 14-hour days building rockets and trying to figure out, you know what I mean? Like, the spectrums are just not the same of achievement.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm one of those people, again, not an admitted fan of Elon Musk as a person.
He's fucking weird. I don't hate him, but he's on a different, how do I put it nicely? Yeah. I'm on this spectrum, which, I believe me, I'm on a fucking spectrum. He's on this one. You know what I mean? Right. Like, we just are in different spectrums.
Yeah. But I respect what his companies do. SpaceX has done a ton for space exploration. Like you said, being able to reuse that equipment is going to be huge. You know, Tesla's.
Well, not to mention things like, I mean, Starlink being the only internet you have in an area like North Carolina that was just devastated. Or California, for that matter. Like him or not, him and his company are doing things to help people.
Right.
And Asmongold is a voice on a screen that helps no one. In fact, if we really want to dig into the nitty gritty, Asmongold is doing a disservice to people by feeding that negativity machine.
Right.
Once again, it is like children who are in a sand pit and somebody knocked over their sandcastle, and it's like, fuck you, my friends are going to make fun of you. And it's just, I both of you
give a ton of credit to the work that is happening at the companies that Elon Musk owns, at least the ones that aren't Twitter, because like SpaceX, Tesla are doing things.
Like, Twitter is another one of those. Like, I don't think. Is there anybody who logs on to most social media for positivity, though? Like, I think fair is fair. But where do you find it?
But yeah,
you know what I mean?
The bulk of it is what's the hot take? What's the tea today?
Yeah. What's going on in the news? What should I be depressed and or worried about today?
Right.
Like, you know, and they've always said that the sex and violence is what sells. So, you know, we're going to keep up the anger propaganda machine because that people. Doom scrolling is a very real thing.
What people respond to. You know, it's like people go to restaurants and they, more often than not, they don't talk about their good experiences. They just say, oh, well, that was a pleasant evening and move on.
Yeah.
Now, you fuck up their food, then you're going to hear about it.
Meanwhile, I'm the opposite. If I get out of a restaurant and that food is good, I am like an old grandfather who's just in the car like, "Moo, that was good, woo-wee!" Like, I'm just fucking a happy little piggy at that point.
Yeah. I have definitely tried to adjust my thinking on that. And, like, I think for a very brief period, I was one of, like, the top 10 restaurant reviewers in my area for Google. Because if we went to a place and it was amazing, I posted. I was like, oh, this food was fantastic. The service was great. Like, laid it all out. You know, and if I had a not so great experience, I did post it. But I wasn't like, oh, this restaurant is trash. This is blah, blah, blah. Like, it was like, we went in. This was a not so great experience. But, you know, and tried to spin it a little bit. But it was a very brief period. But sometimes you have to talk about the positive stuff too. Otherwise, your life is just boring.
I don't know, when it comes to restaurants and even retail, because I've worked in both, I tend to be very forgiving. Like, if somebody brings me the wrong entree, I'm like, yo, this isn't what I ordered. Like, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm not going to shit on them. Like,
No.
and we also try to tip really generously. Like,
Hmm.
if I am in a retail setting and you have me acting like a dick against you, you have done something. This is on
Right.
you. It's not my attitude. I go into these places with so much fucking patience because I know what it's
Hmm.
like. That if I'm
Right.
giving you attitude, you fucked up somewhere
Yeah.
royally. Like, you've broken me to now. I'm just like, all right, I'm on fuck it mode. Like, I'm gonna be a dick because you like. That's how patient
Right.
I am. And like, I think, and when I was in the hospital, it's amazing how many of those people it just expect you to be a piece of shit to them.
Yeah.
And I would, and I'm relying on these people. Why
Right.
the fuck would I be a piece of shit? I had a nurse tell me one time, I'm just glad you're not screaming racial things at me
Yeah.
when I was in the rehab center. And it's like, really?
It is astounding how poorly people treat healthcare workers in this country. Like,
Terrible.
it's not their fault you're sick. It's not their fault that you had to have your fucking not you,
No,
but it's
my
not their
fault.
fault you had to have your
You
fucking
know,
foot cut off. You fucking
no.
diabetic.
And that was, oh, dude, that's the most frustrating thing is my diabetes is in order. My sugars,
Right.
perfect. I had a 5.3 A1C and I still got this infection in my foot. But yeah, when I'm
Yeah.
in the hospital, like, there was never a moment in my head where I'm like, fuck these people, man.
Yeah.
I'm over here like thank God I've been given somebody that will, if I ring this bell, they'll come bring me more ice water.
Right.
It's
And
like,
that's not to say that you can't be human. Being sick, having health issues and stuff like that sucks. I will tell you, like, I have so many fucking health issues, it's not even funny. It sucks. But it is not the nurse's fault. It is not the doctor's fault. It is not the intern's fault. It's not the person coming to draw your blood's fault. It's nobody's fault. Shit happens. It sucks. But you treating other people like shit because of it isn't going to make it any better.
I had
The
one,
standard of care, the quality of your care will go up immensely if you treat them with respect. If you treat them like a basic fucking human being with a little bit of dignity, because they're the ones that are cleaning up after you. They're the ones that are trying to help you get better. The quality of your care is going to go up so much.
yeah, when I was in the hospital, I mean, everything was, I would thank people. I would apologize for having to do things for me. And you're right. I never had a single fucking issue with any. They were always. When I was in the rehab center too. Don't get me wrong. This rehab center was a trip. I mean, it was one flew over the cuckoo's nest. It was fucked up. But there was a difference. Like, and I was actually a little shocked because when we were there, it came to the realization, or when I was there, I came to the realization that, like, while I'm just trying to get the fuck out, there's people who can't leave. It was a federally funded facility. A lot of the people that were there had nowhere else to go. They had medical issues that qualified them to live there, so that was their home. So I stopped talking about being discharged. About a week in, I realized that some of these people will never leave. And so that flipped the switch where I was like, you need to stop talking about you're getting out. If they ask you, sure, don't bring it up otherwise.
Yeah.
And then we were, the one woman that worked there, she was a really nice lady. She really did care about the people. And she would bring them out ice cream. And of course, this is, August, so it's fucking super hot. And she's complaining that the kitchen won't give her enough ice cream. And she's like, this is all I got, guys. I'm going to try to give everybody some. And I'm over here like, I shouldn't be eating ice cream anyways. I'm good. And, but she was pissed. And so my wife and I were like, okay, fuck it. We got a Sam's Club membership. We bought, I think, 10 or 5 gallons of ice cream, whatever it was. And we delivered. And I told her, like, we're going to, even when I'm out of here, I'm going to try to make a trip back. And we did. We brought them over the holidays. I think a day or two before Christmas, we brought them Swiss Mix, the big tin of the cocoa mix, and one of those big ass like 80-something tray cookies. And to my shock, these people were beyond happy to see me. I had people that I didn't even remember coming out of their offices going, "Hey, how are you doing?" And it really is astonishing if you just treat people like the way you want to be fucking treated. They're more than, like, they got into that industry to help people. And then
Right.
over time, if they have an attitude, it's because they've been called the N-word 700 fucking times. They've been screamed at. They've been had shit thrown at them. You name it. The situations they've had to do. Much like, I'd say, probably much like police, where there's just a certain point of you hardened.
Right.
And you go, ah, fuck, this is just another number. It's not a person.
Right. Yeah. Like, people don't go into healthcare for the money. I mean, okay, at doctors' levels, maybe they do.
Doctors, surgeons, surgeons do.
Yeah, but like the PAs and the nurses and the people that are actually doing the day-to-day work, no.
No,
Same with
the
teachers.
the RNs, you tell them if they're helping clean you up, and I'm going, man, I'm really fucking. This is the first time I've ever had this in my life. I'm sorry, and they're like, this is what I signed up for. This is my job. I'd rather be. I had one of them tell me I'd rather be doing this than working fucking retail. I go, all right.
Yeah.
And then I stopped apologizing, because you have enough of them tell you, hey, this is my job. This is why I'm here. That you go, okay, am I patronizing them by apologizing to them? Because I don't want to patronize them.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, most of the ones that I've ever interacted with, it stuff like that is one of the worst parts of the job. But they're happy to help. They're happy to be helping people get better.
It's also how you look at the situation. Like, in the rehab, one day I get woken up and they're like, hey, it's shower day. And I was like, huh? And they're like, yeah, you got to take a shower. And so I started talking to them. I was like, why is a shower so important besides the obvious hygiene? And they're like, we got to do body checks. We have people that will lie. And, if we don't do body checks, they could have a giant bed sore. So it was awkward. I had a young black woman watching me disrobe, and I was in a chair that had wheels to go into the shower. And so, I mean, the whole time I just joked around. I told her, you're the first woman to see me naked since I've been married to my wife. And, just joked around with it and, just try to, I mean, the thing about it is you really only have two options in life when the shit hits the fan, right? It's either stop or go.
Yeah.
And if you're choosing to go, then go all in.
Yep.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yep.
And that's what the hell's going on in my wheelchair over here? I just felt like the one pin move. All right, enough of the weird medical shit. There is another stupid drama that's going on right now, and I'm gonna have you get into the nitty gritty of it, because this is more your world. Your World of Warcraft is something that, because I'm cheap and don't like subscription models, I have played very little of it.
Fair enough.
It basically, I looked into getting into it about a year ago, and then I was like, fuck, it's $15 a month plus the price of the expansions and all this, and I was like, okay, I don't have enough people to play with either. Like, I feel like if you're going in there and you're new to it and you're jumping in, it's quite overwhelming, so I didn't enter the realm of it. But the drama deals with a streamer / game creator, and his name is Pirate Software, and it's about him dealing with a guild and then the subsequent damage. So please enlighten us of the details of this one.
So, there's a little bit of backstory / setup for this, but basically, Pirate Software, as far as I'm aware, used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. So he's got a little bit more in-depth knowledge on the systems and things like that.
His father as well. Like, if you've ever watched Pirate Software, I do like a lot of the information he gives to his people and his fan base. Oh, yeah. His dad was a Blizzard dev. He worked as a Blizzard dev. After that, he worked for the government as a governmental hacker trying to breach systems. The guy's intelligent.
He's very, very bright. Very, from what I've seen, very personable. So
an oddly deep voice. Like, he looks like he would be an emo kid. And actually, at one point, he had a higher pitched voice. And people always mock him for doing a fake voice because he pulled up old videos and he's got a high-pitched voice, and then out of nowhere, it dropped like 2 octaves. Now he talks like this. And it's the funniest thing to watch.
Yeah. So the thing is that when the original World of Warcraft game came out, that was it. There was World of Warcraft. Recently, several years back, there was a very significant outcry for vanilla realms. So there's different ways that people refer to the different expansions and things like that. The original World of Warcraft that very first came out in 2004 is referred to as vanilla WoW. And then there's expansions after that, so Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, down the line. There was a huge outcry for vanilla World of Warcraft Realms, which basically meant that people wanted to go back and play it as it was when it first came out, without all of the quality of life improvements that have been added over the years.
But kind of like a Fortnite OG in some regards. I think Fortnite still maintains the new combat and traversal though.
Right. So it would be a separate setup, separate set of realms, and over the years there have been a lot of significant improvements to World of Warcraft. So this was, and there were a lot of people pushing for this. For a long time, Blizzard said, no, we're not going to do that. And then finally, something happened, and they totally reversed course on it. And they're like, okay, we're going to give you vanilla realms. It's going to be exactly as the game was at specific patch. I forget which one it was when it first came out. Apparently, they were popular enough that Blizzard decided to continue. They said, okay, you guys liked vanilla so much, we're going to bring back Burning Crusade realms. And then Wrath of the Lich King realms. And they've progressed on.
And those are the subsequent expansions?
Right. They're called classic servers. So it's classic versions of those expansions. Typically, it is the game as it was at the last patch for that expansion before the pre-patch for the next expansion came out. Gotcha. So classic vanilla World of Warcraft realms are, I think the patch was like 1.12 or something like that.
So they're locking in the feature sets per realm then?
Right. And then, so they've been working through those. Subsequently, they added additional other realm types. So another one that they've done is called Season of Discovery. And basically, they went all the way back to vanilla again, said, okay, we're going to take this version of World of Warcraft, but we're going to change it up. We're going to add in abilities that maybe we thought about adding but never implemented. We're going to add or enable different play styles. So WoW is based around the triad system of tank, DPS, healer. And so groups consist of those three things.
Which, if you're not a WoW player, but you are like an Overwatch or Marvel Rivals player, a lot of that same strategy, or at least a lot of the same strategy, should be being used in those games.
Yes. And what they did was they added in special abilities that enabled classes that typically could not fill certain roles. So like a mage. All three mage specs are DPS specs. There's Fire, Frost, and Arcane. They added in, they're called runes, or RUNES, that you could find in the world that would allow you to play a mage as a healer. So it adjusted some of the abilities to do, things like that.
Was that what he was running? Because I know he was the healer on the team.
So I don't necessarily know if he was running Season of Discovery. I know he was playing a mage at the time that this happened.
It was a permadeath server too, which is where the controversy, right, I think, really stems from.
Which is, again, one of the other things that, and I'm almost there, I promise.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. There's a little bit of probably unnecessary setup for people who aren't aware.
I don't know shit about it, to be honest with you. Like, I read the drama, and for me, as a non-WoW gamer, it's kind of just like, sounds like he did what he was supposed to. Like, that's kind of my general, he was told to run.
For 99% of WoW players that aren't in this specific circle, we don't care either.
Okay, fair enough. So I'd assume the permadeath is kind of like, I like third-person hack and slashes, and then there's Elden Ring. You know what I mean? There's a whole level of difference.
Right. So, but the point is that as time has gone on, they have extended the types of available servers to various things. One of the things that popped up more recently in the current World of Warcraft, people find different ways to play all the time. There's a guy who leveled from level 1 to level 70 on... There's a race called Pandaren, which originally started off as a joke, and then they were added to the game. but they start on a separate island where they are neutral. They are not Alliance, they are not Horde. And for the majority of World of Warcraft's history, that's been it. You were either an Alliance race, which is a certain set of races or ancestries, and Horde, which is another set of ancestries. And then they threw in the Pandaren, which you did their starting area, which was you're on the back of a turtle, going through their zone. It's very cool, actually.
I mean, it sounds like it would be pretty neat. The idea of you're on the back of a turtle is odd, but okay.
Yeah, it's really cool though. And at the end of that starting zone experience, you pick where you want to go. If you want to go to the Alliance or if you want to go to the Horde. And somebody managed to level from 1 to 70 without ever leaving this island, because WoW added something called level scaling, where you get experience for stuff regardless of which zone you're in for certain activities. The guy basically picked plants because he always got experience for picking plants from level 1 to level 70. It's called Neutral Agent. Dude's a whack job. I really admire what he was able to do. Yeah. Another thing that people started doing was they started basically playing hardcore WoW. Now, at the time, this was just a thing that they did. It was tracked on a website, just basically don't die. If you die, either keep the character, delete the character, whatever you want to do, and move on. Eventually, Blizzard decided to formalize hardcore because it's something that they've always had in Diablo. You had normal characters, you had hardcore characters.
Yep.
Hardcore character died, it went away. It was just gone.
Permadeath.
Or like it still showed up on your thing, but you couldn't play it anymore.
I'm not a fan of that concept.
Right. There are people that do enjoy that concept, though. So Blizzard created a specific server for hardcore classic characters. And that is where we reach the controversy of today's story.
Now, let me ask, if you're playing a hardcore classic character server, you should probably really know your shit, right? Like, you are probably somebody who has put countless hours into WoW.
Yes. Most of the time, people don't reach max level without dying at least once.
Yeah.
So if you reach max level on a classic server where it takes weeks, not days, weeks, if not months to get to level 60, you are freaking hardcore. And you get a little bit of street cred for that. Nerd cred, street cred, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I think that is one of the things is like, all right, so with his situation, he knows what he's doing. He's worked for the fucking company before. He's developed these games. He's obviously a longtime player. His dad is a longtime developer / player of it. In fact, the South Park meme of the nerdy older gamer dude is based off of his father.
Okay.
I'll pull it up and show. I'll link you to it later on. And but maybe we'll pull it up. I'll pull it up on the screen. But
yeah,
South Park made fun of his dad famously, and he even on his stream was like, "By the way, this is my dad." He's had his dad on his stream too. Another highly intelligent fucking guy.
Yeah, and I'm aware of the character and all that. Like there was an episode of South Park called "Make Love Not Warcraft," which is where that comes from.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware that was specifically his dad. So I learned something new today too.
I had no idea who this fucking guy was, but he came across my feed and I started watching him. And I don't watch I'm not really somebody besides our friends where I'm sitting down and watching somebody's entire stream. I consume it either in clip or YouTube short form for the most part. So a lot of his content I've seen, and I actually have not subscribed. I followed him on Twitter or Twitch.
Yep.
So when he does go live, I pop in there every now and then. But I was liking how when he does talk about being a developer and all that sort of stuff. I do find that very insightful, and that's why when he came under attack for me, I was kind of like, "What'd this guy do?" Like I kind of like him, and then I found out what happened. What happened, Imanis?
So what happened was, one of the things with hardcore servers is if you're playing solo, you have full ownership over what happens to you and your character. You pull too many people and you die, that's your own fault. One day, he there was a large guild that consisted of mostly WoW content creators, streamers. There were people like Bajira, who is a very high level PvP player, is in that guild. There's a lot of other content creators. So one day, Pirate Software and 4 other people are doing a dungeon called Dire Maul. So they're in this dungeon, and I've watched it. It gets a little hazy, but a larger than should have been pulled group of mobs got pulled.
Let me ask you,
too many people.
Just the terminology. Polling. So in World of Warcraft, is there triggers for when enemies decide to attack? Is polling like going to a certain distance from them and then bringing them to you?
Right. Okay. So whenever you pull, there's a couple ways to do it. You can either just do proximity, also called face pulling, where you just run into the group and start attacking. There are others that patrol, and it's invisible, but it's basically like a circle around them, that if you enter that circle, they see you and they'll come after you. There's different ways to do it. In this situation, presumably, the tank attacked a group of trash mobs, trash characters, NPCs, however you want to refer to it. And I don't know if he overpulled, or a patrol happened to get included in this, or somebody else targeted the wrong group of people, whatever the situation. And so they're fighting the mobs, and I guess the tank said, okay, this was a mistake, everybody run.
Who was the leader of this specific raid?
Right. Generally, in group content like this, the tank is the leader because they're the one who's dictating the pace of the dungeon, how fast you're going, how slow you're going, how big of a pack you're pulling at once, things like that. So, presumably, the tank said, I pulled too much, run, get out of the instance. Because if you're in a dungeon, that's the only way to drop aggro or get the mobs to stop attacking you, is to leave the instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pirate Software, because he is a mage, they wear cloth, they're very squishy, very easy to kill, especially if you have a large group of enemies, does what the tank said. Followed instructions. 2 of the characters in the group of 5 died.
Permadeath, so they're pissed.
Right, so they're pissed. They lost their characters. Now,
plus however many hours they were in that dungeon.
Yeah. Right. So the thing is, this is part of the risk you run when you play group content, is that somebody will screw something up that could put your character at risk.
I mean, it sounds like basically it was a snafu. Shit hit the wall, right, or hit the fan, and it was time to bail.
Right. The issue that a lot of people have is that Pirate Software followed the instructions of the tank, which was run. Mages, specifically Frost mages, like I believe he was playing at the time, have a slightly larger toolkit of crowd control abilities. Things that allow you to slow enemies, things that allow you to freeze enemies in place, things that allow you to basically try and help protect the group a little bit from what may be happening. One of their abilities they have is called Polymorph. Basically, you cast Polymorph on an enemy, it turns it into a sheep or a penguin or whatever you can get various scrolls that allow you to change what it'll look like whenever you polymorph it. But basically, it turns it into a sheep, and it's one less thing that's attacking you. So people's problem is that Pirate it sounds like, could have used more things to help slow the group of bad guys down that maybe would have allowed the other 2 characters that died a better opportunity to escape.
But would he be putting himself in the ultimate danger of death by doing that?
Yes, that would increase his level of risk because he has to stop running, cast the ability, and then continue running.
So they're mad
which
at him for A, following orders, and B, not being okay with potentially sacrificing himself so the other two can live.
right. He went into self-preservation mode, which most people would have done in that situation.
I mean, it sounds like
especially on a hardcore server.
Because, like, you're talking about how there's a lot of content creators and pros at the game. It sounds like a big part of it is ego.
Yeah. It's a lot of ego. It's a lot of uncertainty because nobody knows what would have happened had Pirate stayed. It's entirely possible that he would have died too, and then there'd be 3 dead characters in that dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, I think from his angle, he also had talked about how whatever resource he needed to do certain things, he was low on.
Yeah, so mages use mana. It's fairly standard, you know, for magic casters. I haven't looked too closely at the video. This is just
I gotta
read in various things.
I gotta see if I can find the actual clippage of it.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
I don't know if I've actually seen the video of what took place.
Yeah, I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But yeah, so it sounds like he was low on resources. The group leader said run. He ran. He did. You know, could he have helped the other characters? It's hard to say.
How come the tank isn't taking shit for pulling too many?
That's a valid question. It's one of those things that there's a number of variables, like I said, that could go into why the tank would have pulled too many people. He may have he may have mistargeted something. He may have not seen a patrol coming through. It's possible, like I said, that another character mistargeted and targeted the wrong group. There's multiple factors that could have gone into that as well.
I kind of look at it at games that I play that are in somewhat of the similar realm. So if you're talking like an Overwatch or a Marvel Rivals, if my tank is going up ahead beyond his players that are with him, that's his bad. If he goes into the checkpoint that we have to take over, and he gets 6 dudes on himself because he moved, that's on him. I will say, in the same token, I've gotten pissed off in games like Overwatch and Rivals because healers are dog shit. Right. But I don't get the impression that Pirate Software is a dog shit healer. I think it was just a really shitty situation, and he kind of said, I'm not going to lose my character as well.
Yeah.
Like, whatever I do here, because he's so squishy, and it does sound like to me that people are pissed off because he didn't willingly basically be okay with his character permadying.
Right. And I think that's what it boils down to
but then we have the backlash. And the backlash isn't like I guess the way I see it is if the guild says, hey, we don't like how this went on, you're out of the guild. I suppose that's the guild's prerogative.
Yeah. But it's from Pirate's standpoint, it's shitty.
Yeah.
Because again, like nobody knows there were a million different ways that situation could have worked out. This was probably one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
But the guild does have the right to say, we don't like what happened. You were involved. Get the fuck out.
I guess my problem with it was that I read the guild owner's statement, and it didn't seem like it sounded like he didn't want to do it, but because of the backlash of other members, his hand was kind of forced, which I think is probably the most frustrating part with me. And then beyond that, you have people giving literal death threats over what happened in a fucking video game.
Right.
Which is, to me, the most anger-inducing part.
Right. That is, and this applies to anything. There is almost, I won't say there's nothing, there is almost nothing that requires anybody to send anything even remotely resembling a death threat to someone. Anything. No. There are literally almost no circumstances that would require a person to say, hey, you made this mistake, you deserve to die.
Yeah, and that is the weirdest thing, and I think we've talked about it off stream, but just the odd tribalism that we like. Every community has this tribalism of just like, he didn't do what we wanted, feed him to the fire, sacrifice him,
Right.
and it's like this is
Right.
a VD. Like I get it, it's a high stakes game, but like if you put it in the context of anything else, you're playing a high stakes game of poker. You
Right.
lose, and you threaten to murder the guy that won.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just this weird concept of like, and the guy is also trying to make a business out of streaming. He's making money off of it.
Right.
And you have people trying to cancel his livelihood because of something that happened in a video game. It's insane.
Right. Right. And and I say that I watch college football, and it's the same thing there. Like I've watched, and kickers really just get the brunt of it in college football. Like, oh my God, you missed that last second field goal and my team lost. You deserve to die. Again, do you realize how ridiculous you sound?
Yeah, sports are a weird thing. Like there was that video that came out a couple weeks ago of that guy yelling and cursing at a woman because she was a fan of the other team. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't like obnoxious people, but like if you're in a stadium and you're watching a sporting event, like you have to understand you're kind of subscribing to the obnoxious behavior. Like
Yeah.
you could watch the game at home and not have to deal with anybody screaming their team's name or anything. You chose to
Yeah.
go into a mass populace event. It's just this
Yeah.
idea of like, you did something I don't like. We want you gone. We want you off
Yeah.
the internet. We want you working at Subway. You should never be
Right.
able to play this game again. We want you dead. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
when I had heard about that, you were the first person I thought of because I knew you were in the community, and I'm like, I wonder what his take
yeah.
on it is because this is like to me, who is not in the community. I am a gamer. Don't get me wrong, I'm a lifelong gamer, but like never been in the World of Warcraft realm. So from the outside perspective, for me, it was kind of like, from my understanding, was they told him to do something. He followed the order. People want him dead now.
Right.
What the fuck is going on? And then
Yeah.
it doesn't help that I like his content too. So it's like my immediate bias is, but you also think the worst. Like you start seeing like people are giving death threats. So you're like, ah, shit. What did he do? A Nazi fucking salute on camera? Like, what did this guy do to deserve this? And then you find out that it's from something that happened in a game, and it's like, the way you're acting, he's got babies in his basement. Like,
Right.
like what are we doing?
Yeah. And you're right. Like I've been a part of the Warcraft community since God 2008, somewhere in there, I think. So
That's commitment.
I mean, yeah, I started playing about the middle of Wrath of the Lich King. So 2006, so like 2009 maybe, but either way, a good chunk of years. So I do feel some ownership over situations like this, and I do feel occasionally some sense of pride in the community that I have made very good friends in this community. I enjoy this game. I would encourage anybody who I know it's an old game, and I know that there is a
Still a money maker.
lot. Yeah,
Still, it doesn't matter
it's
its
cash
age.
cow.
Still, look at me. I play Arma 3.
Yeah.
Arma 3 is like 12 years old.
Hmm.
And it looks it, too. Like, it's a janky fucking game, but it's still great. Like,
Yeah.
I guess my question is there a point to which Blizzard intervenes and says this shit needs to stop?
They probably won't. This
Which, since
Excuse
it is a hardcore server, they're probably kind of like, you guys know what you're signing up for.
exactly. So they won't intervene because, like you said, it's a hardcore server. Buyer beware.
Yeah.
Second, it's a community problem. The community has created this problem of ownership over Pirate Software, these other streamers who their characters died. So the community needs to police itself, and people need to stop acting like asshats toward Pirate Software.
Had these not been content creators, had this stuff not gone on stream, What do you think the result is if this is just a old school where it's 2004 again or 6 again and nobody's watching us play? What happens?
If this had not involved content creators, you never would have heard a word about it. This shit happens every day.
It's just part of the game. Normally, it's the game.
Right. The only reason it blew up as big as it did is because of the people involved.
Like, don't get me wrong, I understand having favorite content creators, but it's like at a certain point, dudes, like I think the problem is we need to stop idolizing people.
Yes.
No matter across the aisle. Like, whether it's a polarizing dude like Asmongold, a polarizing dude like Destiny, a polarizing dude like any of these people, this idea that we're putting these people on this golden fucking pedestal because they can click a mouse well. It needs to fucking stop. I mean, and maybe that's my bad. Maybe that's the reason why I'm not bigger than what I am in the streaming market. But I'm not going to get starstruck from a streamer. Like I kind of, because I do it and I try to make money myself doing it. I don't know why, but in my brain, to me, it's like we do the same thing. Like, you are on a much bigger scale. But I'm not in awe of you because people watch you more than me. We're doing the same fucking thing. We're playing the same fucking games or games in general. I do find this streamer thing a bit weird how people tend to idolize them. It's a little odd to me.
Yeah.
Like, some of them I get it. Like, if you're an in real life streamer, like a Kai Cenat, an iShowedSpeed, a KSI, where their whole stream is their life, where everything is discussed, everything's on the open, everything is all them, gossiping, and that's one thing, but like you're literally watching somebody play a video game and you're making it seem like they're saving the world. Like, this shit is getting a little weird.
Yeah. So I will say the only time that I feel like we can put gamers on a pedestal is during Games Done Quick. And I bring this up because it just finished a couple weeks ago. But that group is doing amazing things for charity. But it's the organization that's doing it. Like, yes, there are individual people running the games. There are individual people contributing the donations and things like that. But the fact that Games Done Quick has managed to take video gaming and turn it into a charity event large enough to donate millions of dollars to prevent cancer, Doctors Without Borders, hurricane relief, things like that. I'll put that crew up on a little bit of a pedestal and be grateful that they are such a good representative to the community or to the world of what a community can do.
Well, see, but that, in my opinion, transcends...
The pedestal's about that high.
But even that transcends the world of gaming. Like, you're actually helping humanity. Like, your charitable contributions are actually making a difference in somebody's life. A lot of these streamers are, A, really self-absorbed, and B, it's just, there is no benefit to anybody but themselves. Like, you can have people write in, oh, I watch you, you make my day better, blah, blah, blah. They're still not there to make your day better. They're there for a paycheck. It is no different than the guy that sits in the office Monday through Friday and waits for Friday at 5 o'clock. They do the same shit, except they have a much easier fucking job.
Right.
Like,
the streamer's life would be no different if you were not watching.
Yeah. And what makes me kind of crazy, and I think of the Dr. Disrespect controversy, and whatever side you fall on, I think it is a really weird concept that you have average folk, people who work for every dollar they make, real jobs, donating money to millionaires. Yeah. I find that a little odd. The concept of like, oh, I'm watching Asmongold, I'm going to donate, here's a tenner Asmongold. And it's like, you're donating money to a millionaire. Am I the only one that looks at that as a weird fucking... Like, I understand you appreciate the content and whatnot, but you have made this man a millionaire, and you're still giving him money. Same thing with Dr. Disrespect. They have made that man a fucking millionaire. And it's like, my question then becomes, why? How did we get this system where the guy who works 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week to make money to survive is also throwing change in a bucket to somebody who never has to worry about money again, frankly? It's a weird concept. And
Yeah.
it's something, and it's one of those reasons, like in my content, I don't do e-begging.
Yeah.
If you subscribe, thank you. If you donate money, thank you. But you will almost never hear me. I don't have dono goals. You
Right.
will very rarely hear me go, "Hey guys, don't forget tips. I accept tips."
Yeah.
Like the most I'll ask for is a subscription, and that's usually based on the idea of like, how about the channel get rid of ads? Like if that's your thing, if you like me, do
Right.
it. So
Right. And that's
it's just weird to me of like, hey millionaire, here's 20. Yeah, no, I got
right.
that $20 is 45 minutes to an hour of my day, but here's 20. It's
Yeah.
weird.
And it's when I do stream, I feel the exact same way. Like I don't, if people choose to subscribe, great. That money goes right back into the channel. Like I would put it toward new emotes, new stuff like that.
Microphone, camera, yeah.
Right, equipment for streaming. But other than that, everything on my stream I have paid for because I enjoy the occasional times that I do stream, but I have no expectation from anybody that they're going to give me any money because
also,
we're all fucking broke.
I mean, also look at the people that make content that record on their phones in their fucking kitchen and still are making money off of the thing. Like, don't get me wrong, fancy equipment's fun, but there's nothing that says you need fancy equipment to stream anything and engage people. I mean, the way I look at my content is I'm a variety streamer. I don't get locked into things 100%. The channel changes a lot as far as the content. And my opinion on it has always been, if you're watching my stream, you may be enjoying the game, but you're watching the stream for me. You're not watching it for Call of Duty. You're not watching it for Fortnite. You are enjoying the gameplay, but you're watching it because of me. And that's always the way I've done it. And like, I've chosen the hard route where like, my only real mod is my wife. I edit my own shit. I don't ever have copywritten music on my thing. I don't give them any reason to strip anything I've made.
Right.
That's one thing that I'm proud that I can say is all of my content was made by me. Down from the intros to the overlays to it's all self-done. And that's why when I do look at some of these streamers, I know like dudes like Asmongold, they need editors. The volume of the streaming they do, they don't have the time, and frankly they have the resources to hire them. I still also, there is a part of me that kind of goes like, you're not putting in the work. Like, there are people, like, don't get me wrong, you're working, but they're the real people putting in the work, and you will never see them. But we see your face on camera 8 hours a day.
Right.
And that's where I also kind of differentiate it, where it's just like, here I am doing every fucking thing. And here you are doing one thing. It's all you got to worry about, and you're raking in thousands a month. And, I mean, maybe part of it is envy of just kind of like, I wish I had that fucking audience.
Yeah.
But part of it's also just like, how could you be so full of yourself? And that's all of them. It's, we've talked a lot about Asmongold, but that's not just him. It's any high profile streamer's got the ego. Some of them flaunt it. Some of them hide it. A lot of them, I think, are dirtbags. Like, not all of them, but I think a lot of them behind the scenes are, hey, another dollars and cent came through. If the tips and the donos stopped coming for a day, you'd see that personality come out. You'd see, like, are you familiar with Darkside Phil?
I am not.
He is a notorious e-beggar, and I really dislike him because his content is the type of, like, we got to hit that goal. If we hit this goal, we're going to have another stream later tonight. Or, hey, I played Mortal Kombat, but you guys didn't really watch that or donate during Mortal Kombat, so we're not playing that again. That, to me, is just the biggest piece of shit behavior of, like, you didn't give me money when I played this? Well, clearly you don't want to watch it. Never again. And it's like, whoa, okay, you're not... Are you playing anything for your own enjoyment?
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's games that I play that I like, but people enjoy them. Like, in all honesty, we just finished up our run with Gas Station Simulator. I was done with that game. I had finished the story content, and I'm not going to stream a game to grind it and not have fun with it just because my audience, I have people watching. But I have identified that people, for whatever reason, really do like the simulator games, so we're going to jump into another simulator game. But for me, there's nothing worse than streaming a game and not having fun with it. That's the type of stream
Yeah.
where you're looking at that. How long have I been live? Every 15 fucking minutes, you know. And
Yeah.
those are the worst. Those days where you're watching the clock and it feels like a job more than having fun. And I think if that's where
Right.
you're at in your streaming career, if you can take some time off, that's
Yep.
burnout. You know,
Yeah.
I think if you're making money in the streaming realm, you're one of the few people who has the luxury to say I need
Mhm.
a little bit of a break. But just like anything, you disappear for too long, you're either going to come back to a glorious "Hey, I'm back" or
Mhm.
faded fanfare.
Right.
And also, these ideas of like, "Hey, we're doing a subathon, everybody," and it's like, I get it, you're making money, but what other reason are you giving these people to watch? Like, why are these people paying you to watch? I think it's always been in the back of my mind of like, why would anybody pay me for the content I'm producing? And if they're paying me for the content I'm producing, that means they must like said content.
Right.
That's why, like, I'm not even like, don't get me wrong, I like when people give gift subscriptions. It's great. But I would also like people to subscribe on their own because I want to make them to make that decision of, hey, I like this content. I'll come back. I don't want the ads.
Right.
I want to give them $5 a month, which in reality, because of Twitch, you're getting $2.50 a month or $3 now that it's
Right.
$6. You're not getting five. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just this idea of like, I appreciate every sub because I know those people actually want to be here. And I'd
Yeah.
rather have an audience of 15 that want to be there than an audience of 30 and my chat doesn't move.
Right.
And then you have everything else with like the botting and view counts, and that whole world is a disgusting game because it became something that from something that was fun to now it's all business. We've
Yep.
taken hobbies, we've made them commerce, and we've stripped a lot of that fun out of them.
Yeah.
Let's see. I feel like there was something else we were going to talk about, but it's gone.
So
Much
I
like
think the
most of the
only
thoughts in my head.
yeah, I think the only other thing is we did get the trailer or the first look trailer for the Switch 2
Yes.
last week.
What do you think of
Yeah.
the new magnetic Joy Cons? I feel like that's the first thing that's gonna fucking break that little piece on
Yeah.
the inside.
Yep. That is yeah,
Like
very worried about that.
like I see that and I go, that's gonna be the problem right there.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the first recall we have on these fucking
Yeah,
things.
that thin little piece just gonna snap right off.
Yeah, especially when
Um
you're talking kids running it in handheld mode and oops, too much pressure. Like fortunately, it
Yep.
does look like they put a locking system in. So if you are playing it mobile, it wraps around it and holds it in place so you can't accidentally pull them off. But I mean, kids are rough
Yeah.
on shit. You never know.
Yeah. I do think it looks nice though. I like the bigger size. I like that they changed up the kickstand. I was not a big fan of the one on the first Switch because it's just that one
Yeah.
little rectangle off
There
to
you go.
one side.
It's
Like,
trash. There's only
yeah.
one angle. It's not a good angle. It's an angle that
Yeah.
promotes optimal glare.
Mm,
It's terrible.
yeah. Um, but new Switch means new games, so always excited about that.
PS4
You
Pro
know,
power using I don't think it's going to get higher than 1080p, but you're probably going to see true 1080p. They
mhm.
are using DLSS upscaling, so depending on what they're doing with that, you can see some good results. I mean, the lack of power, and I say lack of power, but a PS4 Pro in your hand is still pretty fucking strong.
Yeah,
But it is a little worrisome, only because you have things like the Stream Deck and the ROG Allies that are getting stronger and stronger.
right.
The little handheld PCs, so it's still going to be underpowered. But look what they did with the Switch. I mean,
Yeah,
you play a game like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. Tell me that doesn't look good. Go play a game like Xenoblade Chronicles. Tell me that
yeah,
doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Like, And we all know
Right.
Nintendo's going to bring out the hits. You're going to have a Mario Party. You're going to have, they already announced the
Yep.
Mario Kart. You're going to have an Animal Crossing. You're going to have a Splatoon. You're going to have a Donkey Kong. You're going to have a new Metroid. You're going to have Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remastered, plus Metroid Prime 4. You
Right.
know, you already know they're going to be bringing, and I feel like it's the only console that's releasing that I have any sort of excitement for. Like when
Yep.
they announced the PS5 Pro, it was just more or less hatred. Like fuck you, your price point
Right.
and your greed. Sony, on to be honest with you, is on my shit list of worst gaming companies right now. Between the having to log in for PC releases, which I'm not a big, it doesn't matter to me. I've got a PS5, I've got a PlayStation profile, I've been a PlayStation gamer for a long time. I've had a PlayStation account since you could create them on the PS3 era. Like, I'm not concerned with that. I do feel it's stupid, though, to force login on a different platform like that.
Right.
I think it's dumb, but it's also in line with the industry. You know, if you're running Sea of Thieves on Steam, you're logging in via Microsoft, no
Right.
matter what. You know, so it's like people who are pissed about that. I understand, but I also feel like the backlash is stupid. Look at Helldivers.
Right.
People loved Helldivers. They added the login. They review bombed the fucking game, and it's like, do you really think that's gonna hurt Sony? All you're gonna do is make Sony go, all right, fuck PC ports then.
Yeah.
You know, and that's as a PC gamer, I'm excited for Spider-Man 2 coming out at the end of the month.
Yeah.
You know, and if we keep pulling this shit where we're just like, hey, you did something I don't like, fuck you now, you're gonna have Sony go, it's not worth it. We don't need
Yeah.
another PC release of this game. Fuck it, I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big problem is gamers. I think gamers are the big problem in a lot of these circumstances. They could, you know, Sony's done some stupid shit. They're really greedy. Then this whole idea of the Blu-rays stop being made, like they're making some seriously dickheaded moves. But for whatever reason, the Sony fanboys don't admit any wrongdoing by
Oh,
Sony.
no. It
Like-
couldn't possibly be Sony's fault.
Yeah, like Microsoft fanboys have no choice but to get kicked in the teeth because everybody loves to hate Microsoft. They try to defend Microsoft, and it's like, oh, fuck you, greedy Microsoft, loser. And it's like, have we not been paying attention to what Sony's doing? Their controllers are
Right.
$70 base. Their PS4 Pro is $300 more expensive than it should be. The PS6 is rumored to come out in 2027. People couldn't get PS5s for 2 years of initial release, and now you've already got a new one coming out that they probably won't be able to get their hands on for a year until after release.
Yeah.
The Sony's been in my they're up shit's creek, and you know they went the live service route. Now they're course correcting, and a lot of their live service games they were having be developed are dead in the water. They make amazing games and refuse to give them sequels, like oh shit, the zombie motorcycle game
Oh.
with what's his face from Star Wars Force Unleashed in it. Dead. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one they should have made a sequel to. They never did. You know, and it's time. It's time the exclusivity dies. It's time that console exclusivity fucking dies. It does nothing but hurt the market. It's already been proven that the PC gaming market has taken over, and this idea of like these console fanboys need to go away. You know, they
Yeah.
go, oh, why would I? You know, PCs are so expensive, and it's like, well, a PS5 with a disc drive is over $800.
Right.
Xbox Series X, you may have a point. You can get one for $380, $400. You get a lot for $400.
Yeah.
No
Plus,
matter
if
what,
a part
though.
breaks in, if
Yeah.
a part breaks in your console, you're replacing the whole goddamn console.
Yeah,
If it breaks in my laptop or my desktop,
Yeah.
I'm going down to Best Buy and replacing it.
well, and that's where I think you're going to see the consoles go into the future. Even if they continue making them, I think you're going to see modular consoles. So, you know, eventually you're going to have a console that you're not going to replace outright. You're going to replace it piece by piece. You're going to have, you know, a PlayStation branded video card come out made by AMD or NVIDIA. Same, you know, if they keep going down this route, you're going to have, I don't know, at the price point they're selling them, at a certain point, I think you're just going to see them sell a media box for $1,000. Comes with the base tools, and then they're going to sell you know, maybe not a motherboard, but they're going to sell upgraded internal memory, upgraded GPUs. And
Right.
that's, I think, where console gaming is going to go to, which is the idea of, like, at this point, to start considering PCs.
Yep.
All right. I think we're okay to wrap it up. Thank you
I think
guys
so.
for watching another episode. Only two. However, there's only a select few of you that'll be watching these ones. What the plan is going live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back with a new episode soon, and then soon we will be going live. So we'll be doing these episodes live, more than likely Friday nights. We got to figure that schedule out. We'll figure it out,
Yeah.
and we'll see you guys then. But yeah, I'm out. I'm Nerditude,
I'm Amanus.
and this was Split Screen Co-op. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.